The Hard Rock Show is brought to you by Evolution Music, Rock Guitar Lessons, Hellfire Records, Merlion Industries, and Saren Cabinets and Shop Fitting.
Welcome to the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
We're back again, just the two of us. The other two boys are still having a little bit of a break. We'll see.
Slack.
They are. They're very slack. We should put laziness in the bin later on, shouldn't
Yeah.
But no, everything's good. We're just having a bit of a different format for things until we sort of get through the end of the year and in January and stuff. But there's going to be more fun coming up. At the end of the month, we have our 989 themed 2-hour special followed by a marathon. That's going to be a lot of fun, what we've got planned in the works. Details at the bottom of the screen to follow us on all of our social media antics. Very important that you do so. We have an end of year extravaganza, December 9 Max Watts. More on that in just a second. Mm-hmm. We also have
THR's Radio, Andrew, best radio station in the world with hosted shows every night and cool music on rotation 24/7.
Yes, no better place to get your fix if you're looking for some rock and roll or metal for that matter.
Yeah.
Now, tonight we have a bunch of reviews. We have Santa Cruz with Bad Blood Rising, Toehider with Good, Caligula's Horse in Contact, Stone Cherry, Black to Blues, and Marilyn Manson's Heaven Upside Down. We're going to play the new clip from Electric Mary, their first ever clip, mind you, later on in this episode. And then hopefully we'll be having a chat with the 1 in 7 project, which is a charity musical project raising awareness for prostate cancer, which has a who's who of local Australian artists involved in this. It's fantastic.
Cool lineup.
It is very cool, but we'll get to that later on. For now, kick it off for us.
Opening the show tonight, we have the co-headliners of our end-of-year extravaganza, Teramaze.
Yep.
And we're going to open with their song, Her Halo. Come down to Max Watts in December 9th.
December 9th, not January.
9th. If you're there in January, you won't be seeing us.
Yeah.
Come in December 9th for Teramaze co-headlining. This is Her Halo.
Santa Cruz with Bad Blood Rising. We've just discovered that Julia has not corrected Dave's homework this week, so this is going to be interesting. 11 tracks for 43 minutes, third studio album from the Vintage 4-piece, released via M Theory Audio and Sakara Records after switching over from Spine Farm. 2 singles look like they've been released so far, River Phoenix and Young Blood Rising. Hard to track down the further info. Go for it.
Santa Cruz was my number 1 album back in 2015, so my expectations for this was pretty high. Thankfully, they followed that album up with another quality release, and no, it's not just more of the same. The band has continued to grow. If you're unfamiliar with Santa Cruz, they're young, energetic, have a fuck ton of attitude, and they actually have the skill to back it up. If you are familiar with the band, you'll be pleased to know New Blood Rising has everything you'd expect from this band, and then some. As with all good bands, they're growing and expanding on what they do. It's not just because there's a couple of laid-back tracks on this album, which is a bit new territory for the band, but there's a song called Pure Fucking Adrenaline, which is probably the heaviest the band has ever sounded. It kind of reminded me a bit of Megadeth at times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just something in the guitar tone. As I said, there's a couple of laid-back songs, one being Breath, which has a string section and a whistled melody. Think Guns N' Roses' Patience, but completely different delivery. Fantastic songwriting on that one. So expanding their sound beyond the in-your-face guitar shredding and cocky attitudes to become a more well-rounded band capable of writing both heavy and soft songs. I loved hearing the line, "Fuck Donald Trump, give me Bernie Sanders" in the song Back from the Dead. It was current and it's political and it's a straightforward opinion, which is awesome. Great songwriting, as I said.
Need more of that.
Yeah, exactly, especially in these current times. If you've heard their previous self-titled release, you'd know that some of the production tricks they use in their songs, they add some noises and some kind of scratching to the vocals here and there. They used it a bit on this album too, not as much as on the previous one. Usually stuff like that shits me, but it really works in how this band do it. And aiming towards the young audience that they're appealing to, kids grow up with technology. It's just something that... So if you're aiming for a young audience, you need something like that in there. And it works for an old fart like me too. Having said that, there's some very pure acoustic songs and great performances on this album as well. I like how the band keeps growing and becoming a much better, well-rounded band. I keep saying that, but it's very true. Santa Cruz, the self-titled album, impressed the hell out of me. And their first album, Screaming for Adrenaline, was really good as well. There's a lot of young bands taking on the old school approach, but this band is taking what's been done before and forging ahead with something new.
It's like Eclipse and
Heat.
Heat, yeah.
Yeah, it's that whole European thing happening. They've tapped into, the water's been tapped into or poisoned or something. It's good. Old school hard rock with a modern attitude and production. Now, Appetite for Destruction is no doubt a classic album, but if you want to know everything that Guns N' Roses can do, you would go to Use Your Illusion. Bad Blood Rising is like that. So Screaming for Adrenaline and the self-titled Santa Cruz album are fantastic, but this takes them to a whole new level. I gave it 10 out of 10.
Nice.
Young Blood Rising, River Phoenix, Fire Running for Our Veins, Breath, Voice of a New Generation, Back from the Dead, and Get Me Out to California.
It's almost the whole thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
For me, I found this to be some high-octane hard rock is what I put this down as. It's got a bit of the whole war cry element in it. Certainly a case of go hard or go home with this album. Some great pounding riffs and some pretty blistering solos too. Some of it almost feels a bit like they've gone for the Dimebag style with the guitar work.
Just letting it rip, tearing it up.
Yep. The opening track sets the overall tone of a youthful uprising. However, there's a fair bit of diversity on this with some nice softer moments and nice use of tempo changes. And the energy on this is quite addictive. It's a good one to pump yourself up with. Great track order. They've really laid it out well. It's got the perfect length for this album. They nailed the album craft down just fucking fantastically. There are touches of things like piano at the right times. It's done really well, and the production aids that. Overall, the production's pretty fucking good. It's hard to fault it. It might be a touch compressed, but it's not an issue. There's still plenty of headroom overall, and space in the mix. The layering is fantastic, so it sounds good. The songwriting is fantastic, though. Very, very well done. Great hooks, great use of space in that element as well. It's got good value on repeat listens. You can see that these will also go really well in a live environment. The only knock I have in that regard, though, is with some of the lyrics. In my opinion, which you're going to disagree with, tracks like River Phoenix would have been fantastic with different lyrics.
Okay.
I don't get the point of that song in particular. The fact that you get it near the start and then you follow up at the end of the album with a different version of it makes me wonder what they were trying for with that. And it's sort of like I didn't quite get the context of it. Maybe I didn't quite grab it, but it just felt odd. They're trying to channel River Phoenix in a song.
Plus, they probably wouldn't have even been born when he died.
Exactly. So I'm like, this doesn't quite make sense. And he starts off with, this one's for you, River Phoenix, or my brother or my bro. I don't know. He paraphrased it and it's like, not quite for me. My opinion, whatever. Just didn't get it. Apart from that, though, there is a cheese expected with the ballads. But it's expected, and it's honestly well done. Apart from that gripe I have on, like, maybe some of it's a bit cheesy and the River Phoenix stuff. The lyrics overall, though, fucking fantastic. Really well done, especially considering it's not their native language. So you've got to give them credit there. Another thing they've done really well is apply and then pull back the reverb in parts, really emphasise certain moments in the songs. It's really artfully done, and even the cowbell is done well in this record.
More cowbell!
Yeah. The performances are all fantastic. The product is cohesive and sounds good. Not much to pick on faults-wise, and I'm being picky anyway by my personal tastes, not to do with their ability in any way. And I love how the production and the band seem to have completely worked hand in hand on this record. It's almost another instrument, simply with the way the different tones are being applied in songs, different instruments are used. It's all cohesive. It's one big team performance, which you don't get a lot of these days. This one has done that really well. And there's a lot to really take in on this. Great repeat listen, like I said, but there's a lot of ear candy there that you'll hear different things, different times, different layering, different weight. Like you'll hear the songs really, like with headphones and speakers and stuff. You'll hear different things. Great way to have some seriously classic influences but grow beyond them, like you were saying. They've done that well, and I love how all the different members get to shine in their own way at different times. If you like solid hard rock with great hooks, melody and riffs, you're going to really want to add this to your collection. It grows more on you over time as well. I gave it a 9 out of 10, even with my gripes. Young Blood Rising, Drag Me Out of the Darkness, Voice of the New Generation, Pure Fucking Adrenaline,
great
and
song.
Get Me Out of California were my standouts.
Fuck, I didn't have Pure Fucking Adrenaline as a standout. It's a standout.
Well, there you go.
Fucking hell, it's a standout.
Anyway, check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. Toehider with Good. 8 tracks for 37 minutes, the third studio album from the mastermind that is Mike Mills, who did everything on this record, except for This Conversation Is Over, which also used live band members Tom Mann and Nick Delaney, who also mixed this track. Released independently in October 2017, 2 tracks have been released in the lead-up, How Do Ghosts Work, and the previously mentioned This Conversation Is Over. Go for it.
You can't class Toehider into a particular genre. The songs vary in styles from prog rock, metal, funk, art, whatever. Sometimes you might get an 8-minute epic track, other times the song is done under a couple of minutes. It's always interesting and you're never quite sure what direction the song's going to be taking you into in the next moment, and it just demands your attention. While it may come across as this is inaccessible art rock, it's actually really easy to listen to. If you're not... It's not your conventional 3-chord, 4-minute radio-friendly music, but it does follow some of the known structures that the average listener would be familiar with. The song This Conversation Is Over, for example, draws you in with kind of a ballady type start and develops as the drama musically and the lyrics develop the story. Music and lyrics working together perfectly and taking the listener along for the journey. It's some great songwriting. The song How the Ghost Works takes the listener through a few different moods before growing this wall of sound towards the end, and it's just amazing. Stunning operatic vocals on that track too. It's a great balance of quirkiness and seriousness throughout the album. I gave it 8 out of 10. My standouts were This Conversation Is Over, How the Ghosts Work, and It's So Fickious.
Ah, nice.
That was cool.
It's easy to see why Arjen Lucassen of Arion likes working with Mike. He's so damn talented, it should be fucking illegal, right? Mike is one of a kind. I reckon one in a generation, his talent. If you're a fan of prog or just good music in general, you need to be all over this band and this release. The production is fantastic. So well done. Everything is placed perfectly. The use of panning is some of the best I've found for a long time. The opening of the album's coming out of your left and your right speakers. It's alternating as it comes out of the start. It's fantastic. There's ear candy all over this. It's polished just right while keeping just that touch of the real performance side of things in there. It's not too polished kind of thing. It's nice and organic, layered to perfection. Everything builds and declines in just the right way. No clipping. All the space is there. It's so well done. And Mike is one of the single best vocalists going around today, bar none, actually. The harmonies on this alone should prove that to you. The lyrics are fantastic. Just the right kind of quirky subject matter, which I really enjoyed. But it's delivered just right, and it's a cohesive listen for the consumer. Some great stories in there as well. It's like the whole thing with I forget, Dan lost his shit and stuff. Like there's a great little moments in lyrically. This is one of the most fun albums released this year, I think, in my opinion. It's proggy, it's arty, it's diverse yet ballsy in all the right ways, and it's unique. And we don't get a lot of truly unique artists. The album craft is amazing. The track order is perfection, just the right length as well. And for all the above points, this is really accessible, I feel. Pretty much anyone can find something to enjoy on this. And the epic longer tracks are enjoyable as well. They build in just the right ways. The more you listen to this, the better it gets. It's truly an amazing piece of work, and there's an amazing bunch of hooks on this. Very memorable songs. You will be singing along. Just put it on, turn it up, and prepare to be simply blown away by one of the most talented acts going today. 10 out of 10.
Nice.
I think that's 2 in a row given to 10 out of 10s for Toehider. I fucking love that band. This Conversation Is Over. Millions of Musketeers. How Do Ghosts Work? How Do Ghosts Work? Sorry, but the whole thing is an experience. So check it out for yourselves and give us your thoughts. Caligula's Horse, In Contact, 11 tracks for 67 minutes, the 4th studio release from the Brisbane 5-piece, released September 2017 via Inside Out Music. This album has been divided into 4 chapters, with each one focusing on an individual band member and their personal journey and how they express themselves through their art. Okay. 2 tracks were released in the lead-up, Will's Song and Songs for No One. Go for it.
Oh, I didn't know that. That was interesting. Cool.
There you go.
I just learned something.
You have to dig to get the info on this one a little bit.
This is one album that you really need to sit down and immerse yourself in with a few uninterrupted listens from start to finish. The more time you put in, the more you will get out of it. There's great use of various moods and song dynamics. Each song is almost a story in itself, and since you said that it's all part of the band, it makes a lot more sense. It's prog rock, prog metal done right. Interesting use of spoken word poetry in that one song, Inerta, and The Window on the Wall.
And The Weapon of the Wall.
Weapon of the Wall, it's almost 3 minutes long, but it's just spoken word and sets it up for the rest of the album, so very interesting. I like how some songs, there's some short songs and some long songs ranging from 2 minutes up to the 15-minute epic. Overall, I didn't rate it. 8 out of 10. I'll rate that right now. I'm really unprepared. Standouts were Dream the Dead, Song for No One, Graves, and Atlas Revisited.
Nice. Well, for me, it's one of those ones where you sit back, relax, and let this one take you on one hell of an epic journey. It's a 67-minute listen, so you're going to strap yourself in. True progressive rock to metal for me. If you like that, you're really going to like this album. First off, the production is impeccable. Fuck, it sounds good. So much polish, but it's done right. The space and layering is amazing. It just shimmers in all the right ways, this record, from the audio perspective. Great flow on the album, especially considering the approach, breaking it into 4 parts. It wouldn't be as easy as you'd think to make that a cohesive product, but they've done it really well. Not only do the songs themselves flow and maintain your interest, but they also flow together to give you the peaks, troughs and stuff in an album. Fantastic vocals and guitar work on this, though. Amazing composition and harmonies. Not so many hooks per se, but each song is memorable in its own way. Really good lyrics. Each song is its own story. Great conveying of the emotion in the performances as well. And I love the atmosphere on this. It's really well done. It's technical, but it has this overall uplifting kind of a feel to it while you listen to it. Sophisticated, possibly not the single most accessible music out there, but if you like prog, you will like this record. But you I don't know if you picked up on it, but it's like a positive feeling when you listen to this one. It's not depressing or dark at all. It's got plenty of aggression in there, but it's just not
got its moments of mood, but it's definitely, overall, it's pretty uplifting.
Yeah. So much talent on display from all the members of the band. They all work together really well, and there is some of the truest and most intelligent art from this year, I think, in that genuine, the pure intelligent art concept. They've done that really well. You mentioned it, but the spoken track, Inertia and the Weapon of the Wall, it's fantastic. It breaks things up where it's positioned as well. Overall, it's got a really good balance of light and shade on the album, and the 15.5-minute epic that is Graves is nothing short of phenomenal. If you like really long tracks, you should really, really check that out alone. Outstanding work with that track. The biggest problem in general with albums like this is the attention span required of you to get through the whole listening experience and how accessible it is because of that. Overall, track by track, this is easy to get into. I think almost anyone could find something to enjoy in this. As an overall product, though, for the listening length, it might be a struggle for some people to get into it. Not a knock on their abilities or the writing or anything like that. It's just an observation of the product. It's a really good listen. One to check out and make up your own mind about. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I picked Will's song, Songs for No One, The Cannon's Mouth, and Graves. Check it out for yourselves and give us your thoughts. So let me be enemy to the noose and the fading will.
Hi, another gig guide coming to you from Italy. We're in Rome at the moment, so starting off Friday the 17th of November, Overdose, Littlefoot, Poison Fish, the Nuremberg Code and 3/4 Beast party it up at Rack 'em Up Pool Hall in Lilydale. On Saturday the 18th of November, Glenn Matlock from the Sex Pistols with support from Arcane Saints at the Yarraville Club in Yarraville. On Sunday the 19th of November, Total Metal Fest. The Tote in Collingwood hosts over 10 bands including Vendetta, Scarfius, Damon Pyre, Wicked Features, Annihilus, Diablaze and many more. Plus, Love Your Sister charity event at Mr. Boogeyman Bar in Abbotsford with assorted acoustic sets from some of Australia's finest, with all proceeds going towards cancer research. On Saturday, the 25th of November, Baby Animals with support from Electric Mary at Max Watts in Melbourne. Plus, Never launched their new EP, Volume 3 at the Spotted Mallard. Plus, Sheriff, Neptune Power Federation, the Bleeding Flares and the Swedish Magazine hit the Last Chance Rock and Roll Bar in Melbourne. On Friday the 1st of December, El Colosso launched their new single Limbo with support from Sems and Ulu at the Catfish in Fitzroy. On Friday the 8th of December, Jarface launched their debut album and the Dead Lips launched their second EP with support from Mannequin Death Squad, Sienna Wild, the Jenny Black in Brunswick. On Saturday, the 9th of December, Hard Rock Show End of Year Extravaganza. Been banging on about this for a little while now. Vanishing Points, Teramaze, Acolyte, Darcy Fox, Lazarus Mode, Destroy She Said with guest singer Hayden from Idle Fret from Albury. Cicada Stone, Espionage, Sonic Circus, and Southern State. So it's $25 if you purchase prior, or it's $35 at the door. Simply the best value on the night for the best lineup in town. Then moving on to Friday the 5th of January, the Warbirds EP launch with support from Shadow Queen, Jarface and Ablaze at Bendigo Hotel in Collingwood. On Friday the 12th of January, 12 Foot Ninja, Caligula's Horse and I Built the Sky playing at 170 Russell Street in Melbourne. Also, moving on to internationals, Mike Portnoy's Shattered Fortress touring November 16th to the 25th. Paradise Lost will be touring in December, and Progfest is coming in January 2018. As always, lineups and events are subject to change, so keep up to date with these via Facebook. And also, don't forget the 1989 2-hour themed episode at the end of November, followed by a THRS marathon on Channel 31. Also, if you're keen to have something plugged on this space, let us know. Send us a message via Facebook. So, since I'm heading home to Australia tomorrow from Rome, arrivederci. Bye.
This week's clip of the week comes from Electric Mary, and it's their first clip ever. And the song goes by the name of Woman.
Stone Cherry, Black to Blues, 6 tracks, 20 minutes, the third EP from this US 4-piece, which we've covered extensively on the show before. Released September 2017 via Mascot, produced by the band and recorded at the same studio they did the last studio album in. This is an EP of classic blues covers done with their spin on things and peaked at number 29 in the UK. Go for it.
As the title implies, this is the band playing some old school blues classics, which is awesome because it helps to keep those songs alive and hopefully introduces them to a whole new audience who might be inspired to check out the originals. The covers are mostly faithful to the originals, but it gives them the Black Stone Cherry style and therefore rock them up a bit. It maintains their swing though, which is important. Some of these songs like Palace of the King, Hoochie Coochie Man and Born Under a Bad Sign have been covered various times in so many different ways. It's always interesting how a band puts their own spin on them. They're kind of classics. Well, they are classics, kind of standards is what I'm trying to say. Would have been interesting to hear them do Baby Please Don't Go, but how many bands have done that already? Great vocals for these old songs, breathes new life into them. I like when bands do EPs or covers in between proper albums. It breaks things up and it's really interesting.
Yep.
9 out of 10 gave Built for Comfort, Palace of the King, Hoochie Coochie Man and Born Under a Bad Sign.
Nice. Now for me, first off I have to say I'm not as familiar as I would like to be with the original versions of these. There's tracks from Willie Dixon, Muddy Waters, Freddie King and Albert King that make this up overall. But that said, this has their sound. It's a little looser this time around, which is exactly what they were going for when you go through the reading of the production process. But they wanted to make it more of a live feel, and they got that on this. The production suits, it's got that gritty feel to it, but it's clear. You can hear everything. That said, this is all them. For me, not knowing the originals that well does make me feel like I'm listening to Black Stone Cherry. Okay. It does fit them. So the versions, the arrangements they've made fit their sound. So they've done a really good job of just taking songs and making it their own, in my opinion. You can tell it's blues, but they've given it their stamp. And I love the track order on this. It's only 20 minutes in an EP, but it's laid out really well. You listen to it and it takes you through it like it's a good listen from start to finish. I love the layering applied to it. The little things tucked away sonically, like the piano and the brass sections, add some really cool depth to the sound overall. And I love the southern feel in the guitar work, like you were talking about the swing as being critical, and they've captured that so well on this. The arrangement of the individual songs is really well done too. Great application of space in the songs, but they've given them a big set of balls. So like you were saying, they've locked them up. Yep. Great groove and swing in it. Some great chugging riffs on here as well. And the best thing about this is that it's just another string to their bow, in my opinion. This feels all Black Stone Cherry, but it's not gimmicky at all, in my opinion. I didn't get the impression, sometimes bands will release covers and you go, there's a bit of a gimmick attached to that. I didn't get that feeling with this at all. Great song choices, really well arranged. It suits them really damn well. This band just keeps getting better and better, in my opinion. If you haven't seen them fucking live, you really should. They're fucking amazing. Another great thing is it's hard to pick favourites in my opinion. Each time you listen to it, you'll lean toward a different track. I don't know if you found the same thing.
Yeah.
But each time I listen to it, I was like,
well.
I like that. Oh, no, but and it just changes your mind every time you listen to it. All ripping tracks. This is the perfect little tide me over until the next album drops. If anything, this makes me more keen for the next album because you know that this is going to have an influence on what happens next to the band. I hope they play some of these songs live too when they tour it next. Great little listen. I recommend you check it out because while it's classic blues, it's definitely done in the Black Stone Cherry fashion. 8 out of 10. Champagne and Reefer, Palace of the King, and Born Under a Bad Sign. So we crossed over on the standouts there. So check it out for yourselves. Give us your thoughts.
Well, if it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck at all.
Marilyn Manson, Heaven Upside Down. 10 tracks for 47 minutes. The 10th studio album from the US outfit released October 2017 via Lorna, Vista and Carolyn. Produced by Tyler Bates. 2 lead-up tracks were released. We Know Where You Fucking Live and Kill For Me. Taking the album to number 8 in the US, number 7 in the UK and number 4 here in Australia. Go for it.
Honestly, I've never been a huge Marilyn Manson fan. I always thought Alice Cooper does it a lot better, but Manson has always been interesting. When he first broke through, I'd read just about every interview I could find on him. He always has an interesting take on things and he knows how to play the media.
Very smart, man.
Yeah. Back then, Marilyn Manson was synonymous with controversy. He was new, he was young, and he was dangerous. And he could back it up, the controversy, with some really cool songs. Beautiful People, Disposable Teens, This Is the New Shit, being some of the songs of his that I do like. Now at 48 years old, almost 30 years into his career, he's released his 10th album. It must be hard because people have the expectation of what they expect from him, and he needs to deliver what he's known for, but he can't just rest on what he's already done. Yeah. Controversy plays very little these days because nothing tends to shock people anymore.
Yeah.
So what Heaven Upside Down consists of is Manson taking what he's used to, what he's used to bring into what he is now.
Julia.
It's late and I'm tired. It's the right album for him to release at this point in his life. It's evil and it challenges the world, but it's more focused aggression rather than what we got from him 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is exactly, but under the modern production and distorted tones, I got a bit of a classic rock vibe to it.
Yeah. I got that too. That'll be interesting.
He's gone back to his childhood, some of the music he listened to growing up.
But yeah, I think I've got some references here. I'll be curious to see if you get the same references as me. But yeah.
It was interesting that he mentions 10 a couple of times throughout the album in the song Satan. It's actually cool considering it's also album number 10.
Yeah.
And in Revelations number 12, he's counting the 10. So I don't know if there's something in his mind that he's trying to get at.
He's usually making a point. He likes to make albums that make a story or complete a circle kind of thing.
There's something in there.
Yeah.
And he says Revelations come in 12, so maybe is he just planning 2 more albums? Is that what he's trying to
Could be anything. You don't know because he's
Never know this
so
guy.
much further ahead than most people think he is.
Yeah.
He's going to survive his stage pops first though.
They're trying to kill him. There's a lot of diversity to this album, which was quite a surprise. The song Kill For Me has a bit of a happy, funky groove to it, which is funny considering the lyrics.
Yeah.
I can actually picture this working well in the Rob Zombie movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Satanella takes a different turn of pace. It's a bit of a laid-back gothic horror feel. A bit of an 80s vibe to that one as well. Heaven Upside Down, it's a good album. I'm not sure how it would stack up against his classic material though. Probably won't win him any new fans, but for those who have been with him for many years, they're bound to love it. Overall, I go 8 out of 10. My standouts were Revelation number 12, We Know Where You Fucking Live, Say 10, Kill For Me, and Satanella.
Nice. Now, I was a huge fan of Marilyn Manson back in the day. Antichrist Superstar was on repeat rotation quite for, I don't know how long, fucking years, I reckon. And that made me go back to his early albums like Portrait and all that sort of stuff and then followed him through for a while. And then I dropped off in recent years. It's worth noting that other reviewers out there are likening this to a cross between Antichrist Superstar and Mechanical Animals. I'm inclined to agree, but that said, I get something of an older classic rock influence, or dare I say almost a touch of Bowie in this. Just
that was a big influence
things.
on Antichrist Superstar, wasn't he?
Bowie's a big influence on Manson in general, I think, but there's just something in the way he delivers the songs that there's just nothing obvious, but there's just little hints of just little moments.
Underlaying, it's playing there somewhere.
I was surprised to find an 8-minute song in the middle of this album. He hasn't done one of those for a while from me paying attention anyway. Some great groove and use of rhythms on this, and some great hooks too, believe it or not. Manson's wordplay, it's always been good and it's still on point. He nails it on this release. His lyrics are fantastic and really well layered with meaning, all conveyed in just the right way to make you stop and think for a minute, which is what you were saying about the references to 10. You're just going to stop and go, hang on, he's making a point. Yeah. But you're not quite sure what the point is.
Exactly.
And that's what he's always done. It's quite a diverse listen. It all flows well and ties together nicely. Manson's always been into the idea of breaking albums into sections, and on this one he's done that well and made it feel like a movie soundtrack, which is what you're talking about with the Rob Zombie type thing. Plenty of balls on this one though. For all the above points I've made, while this isn't as dark or heavy as Antichrist overall, there's still more than enough of both of those elements to satisfy the core fan base. And the production's really well done as well. Everything sits exactly where it needs to for this style and has just the right amount of dirt and polish applied perfectly. Also, Manson still sounds great, and the production really brings that out. So it showcases how good he still sounds. Like you referenced how old he is now, I forget.
48, I think.
Yeah, so he's approaching 50. Yeah. And he still sounds like he's got the goods, this one even crackles at times. It's got something of an electric sound or feel to the production of it. Think touches of Rammstein or Killing Joke when it comes to the way that those albums can sound. Not so much the musical style, but the actual sound of the albums. There's lots of little instrumentation bits in this. Each song truly has its own flavour, and I know I referenced more classic sounds earlier, but there's a hell of a lot more modern sounds in here as well, so it's a good blend of old and new. Great little melting pot. This album needs more than one spin, but if you do, it will reward you as it gets better each time you listen to it. Give it the time it deserves, this release. If you're anything like me and have strayed away over the last few years, this might be a great time to reconnect, so to speak. This one is worth it. Not as strong as his classics works, like you were thinking there, but it's a very strong return to form in my opinion. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Satan, Saturnalia, Blood, Honey, and Heaven Upside Down, my standouts. Check it out for yourselves. Give us your thoughts. Coming up for you now, we have an interview with Josie and a few tag-alongs that were involved in the 1 in 7 project, a charity musical project raising awareness for prostate cancer. I've got a little spiel here, but I'm not going to go too much into it. We're going to go to the interview, and I'm going to play the clip that comes with this song. Check it out. Enjoy. Cool. We're here with Josie and Jared, who you all at home have seen before if you've been watching us for a while. So introduce yourselves and the role you play in the band you normally play with.
I'm Josie. I play drums in Tequila Mockingbird.
Yeah. And I'm Jared, drummer from Massive.
Yeah. But we're not here for either of those two bands today.
Yeah.
We're here because we're talking about a project that you've titled 1 in 7. Tell us, I guess, the basic premise of this, because it's a very cool charity initiative.
Yeah, so it's basically a supergroup formed from 37 musicians from the Melbourne music community, all banding together to raise funds and awareness for prostate cancer, which affects 1 in 7 Australian men, which is where the name comes from.
Now, you mentioned 37 musicians. Now, to do this, let's get the point across. You've done a cover of Turn, 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 and you've got a video clip for it. We'll cover all those things shortly, but at the very beginning of all this is 37 musicians, 17 bands for one cause. How hard was that to wrangle?
In some ways, crazy easily, in a way. It started off as just being myself and a few friends who were going to, put something together as a bit of a awareness piece. But slowly word kind of spread and more people wanted to get involved. And then I thought, okay, I've got 20 people on board now. Maybe I'll ask a couple of wish list musicians, Dave Leslie, Screaming Jets, and see what they say. And they said yes. So suddenly it kind of spiraled out of control. And Ricky Ray had very, very kindly donated some of his time in his studio to the project. And so it was more a case of approaching him with the fact that recording one song, he was probably expecting 4 or 5 musicians, and suddenly he was going to have 37 traipsing through his studio. But he was all for it and did an amazing job with, I think it was 100 tracks. It ended up being 100 different tracks of different instruments and vocals and all sorts. So, poor guy.
Wow, okay.
He literally had to go on holiday for a month in the middle of mixing it. He did half of it and he's like, all right, I'm going to Thailand.
Wow.
Came back and finished it.
Nice. Let's talk about the song choice. You've gone with Turn, Turn, Turn for Pete Seeger, who wrote it for The Byrds. So what made you go with that song?
I think the original thought was that they actually played that song at my dad's funeral, and I remember at the time thinking, this is a fantastic song. The lyrics are just amazing, whether you're religious or you're not, just really kind of poignant and a song for the times, I reckon, you know, whether it's referring to cancer or to just the crazy world we live in at the moment. And I guess the aim of the whole project was to bring people together and to raise awareness, and I think the song kind of really ties in with that whole spirit. And obviously it's pretty catchy, upbeat, family friendly, and it hadn't actually really been covered or rocked up ever that I'm aware of. So I thought,
Why not?
Here's a song for the butchery.
Certainly has now.
So how do you feel now that you've heard it back?
I'm absolutely stoked with how it came out. Like, to have all those people involved and it just, you know, somehow all pull together and work and, you know, hopefully do what it's supposed to do, which is to get a message out to as many people as possible. You know, I wanted it to be fairly listenable, because I wanted it to get out to as many people as possible, not just the hard rock community, because this is something that affects people everywhere. So hats off massively to everyone involved and to Ricky for actually managing to put it all together into something that I think works and is a bit different and fun to listen to and fun to watch.
We'll get to the video shortly, but let's just go back to the basis of this, where it all comes from. This is all about prostate cancer, and as you said, it affects 1 in 7 men, and you've got a reference in the press release about how it's so simply detected, especially with the blood tests these days, which I've got to be honest, I wasn't even sure it was a blood test. I thought it was still a whole finger up the arse kind of thing. So, you know,
that's the whole point of this.
Yeah, no, well, so walk us through, because to be blunt, you lost your father to this, and it's one of those ones where you hear all the time. One of the things I do know about is it's if it's caught early, it's really treatable. Yeah. So walk us through, I guess, a bit of that process and what you've learnt coming out of the other side.
So yeah, prostate cancer is one of the most common cancers. It affects 1 in 7 men, which, if you think how many people are involved in this project alone, you know, do the numbers. And yeah, if you catch it early, it's one of the most survivable cancers there is. If you get it in its earlier stages, 92% survive past 5 years, which is a pretty decent figure for cancer. And a lot of people, I think it doesn't have many symptoms, and that's the problem. A lot of the symptoms, it's an age-related disease, and a lot of the symptoms are just similar to old age, I guess, or getting on in life. So it's not like one day you might just wake up with something that suddenly feels very wrong. But it's it's often a slow growing and slow progressing disease. But if you nip it in the bud, there are ways that they can basically pretty much cure it. So it's if you catch it in the later stages, once it's spread, then there's not much they can do, unfortunately. And I think being prostate cancer, a lot of people are a bit scared of it because they think it means people putting the finger up your bum and whatever. But no, what it is the official advice is if you've got family history, you should have a blood test at 40. And if you don't have family history, it's good practice for everyone at the age of 50 to go and get a blood test, just a health checkup, because there are warning signs that appear in your blood many years before you might get any symptoms that you might even notice or bother to go to the doctor about. And yeah, if they catch it at that stage, the chances of you making a full recovery are so much greater. And yeah, with it being something that affects so many people, I think I never knew any of these facts. You know, most people don't know these facts, but with it affecting, you know, more than 10% of the population of males in the world, you'd think that, you know, this should be out there as common knowledge. So I guess this was just kind of a way of spreading the word, and, you know, I could put a Facebook post up and a few people will read it, but hopefully this gets to more people and helps get the message out. And, you know, music's the best way to heal in some ways as well. So from that side of things, it's been really good.
On a more personal note, I don't know when the timeline was for your father passing and all that sort of stuff, but does doing a project like this help you to sort of heal or progress past for you as a person, do you think? Or
definitely, yeah. So he passed in February, and we were kind of on tour at the time, and it was all a bit hectic. But it's been really nice to kind of take a bit of a step back and have time to put something together and try and do something with something that I love, I guess for the people that I love. And I know, for example, my mum has loved this, and yeah, it's good. You know, it's been a really crap start to the year, so it's been good to try and make something positive out of it.
I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to
No,
get you.
dude, it's all right, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I think it's, for what it's worth, for the people watching this, it's important to see the emotional side of it, because that's going to hit home and hopefully get the message across as well.
I hope so. Like you know, we've all got dads. You know, well, the lucky ones of us still have dads, but we've all had a dad, or we've all got men in our lives that we care about. And I think, you know, it doesn't have to be a big deal. It can be literally just look after yourself. If not for you, but for your family, go and get these health checks. You know, I think it's the Wellman check at age 50 that they recommend. And I know a lot of people hate doctors. I hate going to the doctor, and you put it off and you put it off. But you know, I guess it's not till you see something like this happen in front of you that you think, oh, do you know what? Best case scenario, I'm fine, and I've wasted half an hour of my day. Worst case scenario, I've found something and that would have happened anyway, but it would have been a lot worse when I'd found it. This isn't going to, you know, make your life worse by doing it. It's going to either give you absolute peace of mind and reassurance, or it's going to maybe break the news to you earlier than you maybe wanted to hear it, but it's still news that would come to you, so you might as well catch it early when it's a case of how do I fix this, not how do I deal with this.
And that's the overall point, because the point of this is to raise awareness to get it early as opposed to getting it late.
100%, yeah.
So for anyone watching out there, get onto it, don't be a dick about it. Just, I think there's a trend, I don't know what it is now, there's another saying that they talk about, it's something called man up, while a dog loses his stomach over there, but it's something called man up, and they actually encourage you to go to the doctor to get these things, like you're talking about, checked, because I haven't had the same experience here, but there's people in my family that have gone from things that have been caught much, much sooner, and because they just don't do the right thing. So that's the overall fundamental arc here, is that it's not a finger up the arse, guys. Seriously, you can get away with that now.
It's a blood test, and if you know, leaving it longer doesn't help anything. Like my dad, the first warning sign he had was his leg was swollen. His leg was really, really swollen, and he was a smoker. So I think he went to the doctor and they said it was DVT and gave him stuff for DVT. And it was only about 2 months later, when his leg was still swollen, that he went back and said, look, this hasn't done anything, that they then started looking into it in more detail. So, you know, it could be a pretty random thing that kind of gives you the clue that you need to go and see the doctor. Whereas if he hadn't done those checkups, you might have found out about it 10 years ago, because people can live with it for years and years, and it's a case of whether you catch it at the beginning or at the end when it's too late to do anything.
Now, how can people help and support this? Because you can, obviously, like you said, you can buy the single now, but you've also, I think, got a crowdfunding page set up for this, and there's other things you can do as well. So how can people get involved with supporting the charity argument of this, which is to raise funds to get the awareness and research and testing and all those things done? So
if you visit the website, which is www.oneinseven.com.au, so that's spelled out as words, 1 in 7, not numbers, there's all the information on there. So all proceeds from all the downloads, etc., all going straight to the charities involved. But we've also got a possible, because let's face it, digital royalties are pretty pitiful these days. So in order to make a bit of a splash, we've got limited edition vinyl, t-shirts, and we've also put together a compilation album featuring many of the bands that are involved on the track. So that's all available via the Possible page. There's a link to that on the website. But yeah, that's if you'd like to make a donation or purchase one of these goodie bags, then they're all available there.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming in and telling your story on this one, and thank you for putting it all together. And guys, seriously, get on this. Don't be a dick about it. It's not just about you, it's about your families and friends as well. Make sure you're around for them too. But for whatever it's worth, you're a credit to who you are and for what you're trying to accomplish with this is nothing short of amazing. So
Thank
well
you
done.
so much for helping get the word out.
No, we'll do our best what we can.
Awesome.
A time to be born, a time to die, a time to pass.
Well, that's it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed our presentation for you this week. We're back again next week. Sponsors to thank: Evolution Music, Rock Guitar Lessons, Hellfire Records, Merlin Industries, Sarah Campus and Shop Fitting, and The Lesser Ego. Thank you for your support. Details at the bottom of the screen to follow us on all of our social media silliness. So we have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all the rest of it. You know what to do by now. Get on those links and follow them up. Feel free to leave your feedback on tonight's episode as always. We have our end of year extravaganza, December 9, Max Watts. It's a Saturday. It's $25 plus booking fee if you get a pre-sale of $35 on the door, which is still half price of any other event going on that night. We have, for your entertainment, the best lineup going around. We have Vanishing Point, Teramaze, Acolyte, Darcy Fox, Lazarus Mode, Destroy, she said, with guest singer Hayden from Idle Fret, Cicada Stone, Espionage, which is Dennis's band, Sonic Circus, which is Jimmy's band, and Southern State.
Awesome
you will
lineup.
not get that lineup ever again, so be there or you'll miss out. We'll have raffle prizes and giveaways stuff on the night as well. So Saturday, December 9, Max Watts, be there. It's coming up very soon now. Even Caesar's excited, you can hear it in the background. We also have
THRS Radio, Andrew, greatest radio station in the world, playing super cool rock and metal 24/7.
Super Cool.
Super cool.
And at the end of this month, we're going to have a 1989 year themed special. All right, let's do it. Let's go to the bin. And then we can wrap up this week's
The
episode.
bin.
The bin. What do you got for us? You're
I
winning this.
am putting Microsoft Word in the bin because you crashed last night. It was about 11 o'clock. I'd been doing about an hour's worth of work and the whole thing crashed and it didn't save. Luckily, I managed to retrieve it by going through various parts of the computer that I'd never gone to before. And I found it, but you can get in the bin.
You should have sent a message I got last night.
I think it was something like I was going to throw the computer out of the fucking window.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
That was the start of the conversation. And it went on from there. For me, it's a couple of weeks ago now as this goes there, but people that are anti-Halloween,
Yeah,
get in the fucking bin. This is fun for kids and it builds a sense of community.
absolutely.
We had our biggest bunch of trick-or-treaters. We had over 60 kids turn up at our house for trick-or-treat this year, and I fucking loved it. But we were the only ones doing decorations. You know what?
Damn.
Get into it, people. This is fun, and it brings people together, okay? We've got enough division and bullshit in the country as it is. Let's just get people together to have some fun. And it's pure fun.
Yep.
Don't take it so fucking seriously. If you're into Christmas, you can get into this.
Yeah.
They're both the same fucking thing. From a commercial standpoint, anyway. Not from a religious one. Actually. No, conversation another time. I'll leave that alone.
What baby was born on Halloween?
Halloween ideas for next year now.
Nice.
All right. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you all for watching. We're back again same time again next week on Channel 31. Until then, I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
As always,
Drink up.
and rock on.
We see a few mistakes. Didn't have time this week for Julia's for correcting homework.
All right, let's do
It's
it.
going to be interesting. 3, 2, 1. After we left the group and we were heading back towards our place, we did a few more houses on our own.
Yep.
And we let Rory just go. So we just like marches up, bang, bang. Trick or treat. You got the idea. You get chocolate.
Good motivator.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to put Knucklehead in the fucking... in his crate because he was fucking going off his head. As soon as people was walking up the fucking... You know what he's like.
Yeah.
As soon as someone was walking up the fucking driveway, we had kids running off from his bark.
Halloween every day here, kids.
And the funniest thing was that he's in the crate, so he can't do anything. But Fred and Nala are fucking getting up and down every time someone comes by. Fred's not going, fuck this. He's barging his way through the door into these kids. He's bigger than half of these kids. And they're going, oh my God, big dog. And I'm sitting there going, he's not even the biggest one we've got.
The Hard Rock Show would like to thank Evolution Music, Rock Guitar Lessons, Hellfire Records, Merlin Industries, and Sarah Cabinets and Shop Fitting for their support.